The summer transfer window promised fresh starts and new beginnings. Record-breaking deals were signed, ambitious projects launched, and dreams painted across contracts worth millions. But as the season unfolds, some of those dreams have turned into nightmares. These are the players who so far chose the wrong destination and the alternative paths that could have changed everything. Let's start with the most expensive mistake of the summer. When Liverpool bought Florian Wirtz, paying a staggering record fee to Bayer Leverkusen, the football world expected fireworks. What they've gotten instead is a dampened sparkler struggling to ignite. 8 appearances, 0 goals, 0 assists. Those aren't the numbers you associate with someone who cost more than most players in Premier League history. The German playmaker looks lost in Liverpool's system, his creativity stifled, his confidence visibly eroding with each passing match. The Reds themselves are stumbling through, winning games but looking utterly woeful, which only amplifies Wirtz's struggles. Bayern Munich were ready to pounce, offering him a move within the Bundesliga where adaptation would have been seamless. Same league, similar football culture, a team built to dominate possession and create chances. Instead, the German is learning the harsh reality that price tags don't guarantee success, and sometimes the familiar path is the smarter one. Speaking of paths not taken, let's talk about a player who is actually performing, but you can't help but wonder about what might have been. Victor Gyökeres joined Arsenal and has been solid with 3 goals in 8 games. Nothing to complain about on paper, but here's the thing that gnaws at you when you watch him play. Ruben Amorim, his former manager at Sporting, went to Manchester United. The two shared an almost telepathic understanding in Lisbon. Amorim knew exactly how to maximise every ounce of Gyökeres' potential. Now they're in the same league but different clubs, and while the Swede is doing fine at the Emirates, you wonder if that special connection could have elevated both player and manager at Old Trafford. Which brings us to the graveyard of striker dreams. Manchester United haven't properly nurtured a striker since Sir Alex Ferguson retired, and Benjamin Sesko is the latest victim of that curse. The Slovenian forward arrived from RB Leipzig with genuine pedigree, a player Arsenal had also pursued heavily. But at Old Trafford, he's discovered what Lukaku, Martial, Højlund and others learned before him. United don't create for their strikers, they don't build around them, they just sort of exist in a chaotic system hoping something clicks. Sesko looks isolated, frustrated and completely underwhelming. Staying at Leipzig or choosing Arsenal's structured approach would have served him infinitely better than this slow-motion career stall he's experiencing. Now here's a situation that borders on cruel. James Trafford signed with Manchester City believing he had a clear pathway to becoming their #1 goalkeeper, especially with Ederson potentially leaving. What he couldn't have predicted was Gianluigi Donnarumma becoming available. City moved with ruthless efficiency, and suddenly Trafford went from heir apparent to permanent bench warmer. Donnarumma is only 26 years old and already considered the world's best goalkeeper. He could be City's #1 for a decade. Trafford is trapped, watching his career tick away from the sidelines, knowing he made a decision that might haunt him for years. Then there's Nicolas Jackson's loan move to Bayern Munich, which comes with the most bizarre clause you'll hear all season. Uli Hoeneß, Bayern's honorary president, actually laughed when discussing the conditional obligation to buy. Jackson must start 40 games across all competitions for the move to become permanent. He'll never do that, Hoeneß said with a smirk. Think about that. Bayern's own leadership doesn't believe their loanee will play enough to trigger his purchase. With Harry Kane firmly entrenched as the starting striker, Jackson is destined to return to Chelsea, the club that actively wanted rid of him. He's not wanted at his parent club, and he's openly doubted at his loan club. It's a professional limbo that benefits absolutely no one, least of all Jackson himself. Chelsea's striker situation gets even more complicated when you examine Liam Delap's summer move. The young English forward chose Stamford Bridge after an impressive season with Ipswich, beating out interest from Newcastle and others. Then Chelsea signed João Pedro, immediately creating steep competition Delap didn't anticipate. To make matters worse, Delap picked up an injury that will keep him out until December, giving Pedro ample time to cement himself as Enzo Maresca's preferred option. Newcastle would have offered him guaranteed starts as Isak's replacement. Instead, he's watching from the treatment room as his Chelsea career stalls before it truly begins. Manchester United even warned him about Chelsea's plans to sign the Brazilian, but he chose to join anyway. Sometimes you have to wonder if ambition clouds judgment. Manchester United's summer spending spree looked impressive on paper. Matheus Cunha arrived from Wolves for £62.5 million after consecutive seasons of double-digit Premier League goals. Brian Mbeumo joined from Brentford for £65 million after scoring 20 league goals. Two proven Premier League attackers who should have transformed United's attack. Except the Red Devils are a black hole right now where talent goes to disappear. The team is battling relegation form, Amorim's system isn't clicking, and both players have registered only 2 goals and 0 assists combined through their opening matches. Cunha particularly looks like a shell of the dynamic forward who tormented defences for Wolves. Any other top 6 club would have been a better choice. United's instability infects everyone who arrives, and with Amorim already facing serious pressure, both players might soon be playing for yet another manager who didn't sign them and might not want them. And speaking of managerial chaos, let's address the elephant in the room. Ange Postecoglou, taking the Nottingham Forest job after Nuno Espirito Santo's sacking, was baffling from the start. Nuno had delivered Europa League qualification, finishing 7th after years of relegation battles. But a falling out with owner Evangelos Marinakis saw him dismissed, and in came Postecoglou, fresh off his Tottenham disaster. Yes, he won the Europa League with Spurs, but they also finished 17th in the Premier League before sacking him. Nearly a month into his Forest tenure, the Australian hasn't won a single match. Forest are 17th in the table, the same position Tottenham finished under him. The patterns are repeating, the alarm bells are ringing, and what should have been a stable club after a successful season now faces a potential relegation battle. Nuno's dismissal looks more foolish by the week, and Postecoglou's appointment appears destined to join the list of managerial mistakes that could have been avoided. Jadon Sancho's journey continues its downward spiral. After failing at Manchester United and disappointing on loan at Chelsea, he's now at Aston Villa trying to revive a career that once promised so much. The problem is painfully obvious. The Premier League doesn't suit him. His time at Borussia Dortmund was magical, his style perfectly matched to Bundesliga football. Yet here he is, taking another shot in England with a third different club, hoping something will suddenly click. It won't. Dortmund wanted him back. The Bundesliga represents his best chance at recapturing that form. Instead, he's gambling on English football working out on his third attempt, ignoring all the evidence that suggests he needs to return to Germany to salvage what's left of his reputation. And finally, let's talk about Alejandro Garnacho. The Argentine winger secured a permanent move from Manchester United to Chelsea, escaping one chaotic situation for another. Chelsea's squad is bloated with talent, competition for places is ruthless, and we've seen this story before. Garnacho, frustrated at United due to limited playing time, became a locker room issue. Now, he's at a club with even more options, even more rotation, even more reasons to be frustrated. The cycle might repeat itself. Another talented young player caught in Chelsea's squad management labyrinth, wondering if the grass really is greener or if he just traded one problem for another. These stories share a common thread: ambition without proper evaluation, big moves without considering fit, decisions made on prestige rather than practicality. The transfer window rewards those who think strategically, not just financially. For these players, the summer of 2025 may be remembered as the summer they chose wrong, and the alternative paths they didn't take could haunt them as the season unfolds. Do you think any of these players will come good? Let us know in the comments. Remember to leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it and subscribe to the channel. Also, be sure to turn on post notifications so that you never miss out on any new videos. See you next time. Bye.